Hello everyone, welcome to Ansari Brother Technology channel. In this video, we are demonstrating creation of container using Node.js app, creation of multiple container using Node.js app and MongoDB, and smoothly running multiple container as a single service using Docker Compose. We are demonstrating how to containerize an application. For this, we required Docker, Git clone, and VS Code. Here we are using a repo, which is a Node Express server, which exposes several API routes. So let us begin. We need to clone this repo to our local system. Once the cloning is done, we need to create a Docker file inside the clone folder. This Docker file will serve as the basic configuration file when we are going to create a image. This Docker file has several instructions, which is like from, as we are using Node Express server, so we require Node version. So we are specifying Node version as a base image for our application. Then work directory where the application is going to be cloned. Then we need to provide copy command where we are copying the local code to the work directory. For this application to run, we need node modules. So we are specifying npm install command in run. To execute our server, we need npm start. So we are specifying over here. It should be given as a list of arguments like npm comma start. And finally, our application, when it's going to run, it will be running at port number 4000. So we are writing 4000 in the expose instruction. So with this basic configuration, we are going to create a build. We are going to build an image with this basic configuration. For that, we are using Docker build command with my -t, where this represent we are tagging build to that particular image. So we are specifying the image name. As you can see, the build process started, where it started to pull the node version. Then work directory has been initialized. Copy process has been initiated. After that, npm install, which is going to install the node modules in that directory. So here the image has been created. We can see here in the Docker extension where this image has been initialized just few seconds ago. Now we are going to run this with the help of Docker run. -dp, where D stands for detach mode. It is going to run the container in background, and P is used for publishing. So we are mapping the port numbers over here. So this is the port number, which is our system port number, and then this is the port number, which is the container port number, and the image name. So our container is going to start. So we can look over here also. The container is started, and in here we can see the folder which we have created as a work directory. So in app, it has been initialized. Now we are going to see over here, is our container running. So once the container is started, we can see several other commands like logs. So this was the basic logs when the server started. So as you can see, when we click this, so this application is running from container. We have got one more API route, which is health, which shows the health of the server. So there is one more route running over here. So this is how we can run the Node Express server from Docker. Other than that, we are going to stop our server. So first we need to stop the container. Yes, the container has been stopped. So we can see it with the help of Docker PS. Nothing is running. Then we are going to remove the container. Container is also removed. Now finally we are removing the image. So this completes our demonstration. I would like to tell you one thing. If you change anything in the code, so you require to rebuild the image, run the image again to reflect that code changes. You can keep the configuration file as it is. There is no need of changing anything in the configuration file. To summarize this thing, what we have did, we have started with the Git repo. We have cloned it to our local system. Then we created one Docker file. After creating Docker file, we have specified several instructions in the Docker file. With the help of those instructions, our image get built with the help of build command. Yo, we are demonstrating how to run multiple applications using Docker. For this, we require Docker, Git client, VS Code, Postman extension in VS Code, our previous videos on Docker. Here, we are using MD Express server to invoke some routes which create and retrieve the data from MongoDB. We have added a new branch to existing Git repo whose link is provided in the description. Let us begin. For connecting MD Express server container to MongoDB container, we must use Docker network to establish a shared network in order to connect them. We need to create a Docker network. Once our network is created, we are going to run MD Express server whose build is already been created. which was there in our last previous video. So we are going to run it. Here in this run command, we are having an additional option hyphen hyphen name which get attached to container ID. So for further processing, we are going to use this name instead of container ID. Additionally, we need to specify the network also. So we are going to provide the network name which we have created in the previous command. As you can see, our container started. Now we will see its log. As you can see, the log has been printed, but there is one error. This error is related to Mongo container not running, and our Node Express server is unable to connect to Mongo. So first we need to start the Mongo container also. For that, again we are adding one optional flag name over here also and specifying the network over here. Additionally, we need to specify network alias. By specifying the network alias, we are going to use it as a host entry for connecting MongoDB instead of localhost. Now our Mongo container started. We will see its log. Now we are going to restart the MD Express server because it was exited due to an error. As the server started, we'll see its log. So our Node Express server is running. Now let's see few routes whether our MD Express server is running or not. So we are going to hit the default route. So our server is running. Now we will see several routes which are going to be used to execute some Mongo command. So this is the create route, which is going to create the data with the format of first name and last name. So this is the data which is got created. Again, we are going to create one more data. So this is the second data which got created. Now we will retrieve the data. So we need to specify the body and we are going to hit the retrieve route. So as you can see, the data is coming from the retrieve route and we are going to hit again the retrieve route for another data. As you have seen, the data which got created with the help of create route and we have retrieved the data from the retrieve route. So let us see this from the Mongo container. So we are running Mongo shell. Here we will see the databases. You can see our locally MD user is locally created where we have executed the create and retrieve queries. So you can see both the user record has been appearing over here. As you can see, our app server container is successfully connected with the Mongo container. We are demonstrating Docker Compose. We are moving one step ahead in our Docker series. Docker Compose is used to run multiple containers as a single service. For this, we require a Docker file which would start both containers without starting each one separately. We also require the existing Docker file for our Node application server, which we have already created in our earlier video. We are using MD Express server and MongoDB to demonstrate Docker Compose. Resources and Git repo links are provided in the video description. Let us begin. We need a compose file which will serve as a configuration for Docker application services. We are going to create docker-compose. We need few elements to configure this file. Services, where we are going to use the server key and specify the build, which will be the build which is created with the Node.js application. We need to specify ports and links. This will be served as the alias name for services to connect. We can also specify env file if we have one, but for now we are not having it, so we are skipping it. Now we are going to configure the database. We need to specify the image. And again port. On which Mongo is going to be connected. So this completes our docker compose.yml file. Now we are going to start the Docker Compose. First we are going to see the images. Do we have any images? No, we don't have any images. Neither any containers are running in our Docker. Now we are going to see Docker Compose by using command docker compose up. Now, as you can see, our MD Express server container and the Bitmongo container started to running. Now, you have seen we have used docker compose up command. So when we have used that command, it shows everything on the console. The logs have been shown over here. So we can run this by using docker compose up with -d. So for that, we are going to stop this by pressing Ctrl C. So it is going to force quit. Now we have seen that MD Express server container and Bitmongo container has been stopped. Now we are going to start in daemon mode. So we are going to write docker compose up with -d option. So once it is going to start all the containers, it is just going to give us the message as container started. Now we are going to see the execution over here. So we are going to hit the localhost 4000. So we can see MD Express server running. Now we are going to hit the MongoDB route, create route, so that this data is get created in the MongoDB. So see, the data has been created. Now we are going to retrieve with the retrieve route. So the data which is created by using create route, it's now been retrieved. So this is how we are going to use the Docker Compose up. As we have seen, our containers have been running successfully. Both container, we have not executed them separately. We have started with the help of Docker Compose up. Now we are going to close them by using Docker Compose down. So Docker Compose down have successfully removed the Express server and the Mongo server and the network also. So this is how we complete our tutorial for using Docker Compose file, which help us to run multiple container using one configuration. Thank you for watching with us. Do like, share and subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos.